Hi guys, I'm Kylie. Today I'm making a video about the ACT, which isn't going to be a super like, oh, everybody wants to watch this video, but I do think it'll be helpful for some people if you watch it. So I'm a sophomore in high school and I have a 29 on my ACT right now from October of 2018. And when I was a freshman, I got a 22. Today in this video, we're going to be talking about how to prepare for your ACT and get higher scores, things that you need to bring with you to your ACT, stuff like that. So let's just jump into that. When I was a freshman, a lot of people in my class took the ACT in October because we wanted to. I don't really know why. We just took the ACT, we thought it would be a good idea. I had a 22. I didn't have a lot of high school classes yet. When you're a freshman, you don't have a lot of all the high school classes. The ACT is actually based off of what you should know the spring of your junior year. So as a freshman, you don't really have a ton of classes for that. I'd had a Algebra 1 class the year before because I was in the advanced.
What am I doing with my head here? What?
Half of my class, sort of. That's the only class that I'd had all the way finished. As a freshman, you're not going to score super high on your ACT, usually because you don't have a ton of high school classes, unless you've taken some like a year before or something like that, like I did, which the only one I had taken was Algebra 1. So that did help a little bit. Another thing that'll help you score higher is if you've been like reading throughout your life. People who read a lot typically get higher scores on their ACT. I don't read a ton currently, but throughout my life I've read more than average, sort of, I guess. I mean, it doesn't matter what kind of books you're reading. Like, even if they're like Nicholas Sparks books or something like that, or like Percy Jackson, anything like that, it still counts as reading and it'll help you do better on the reading and English parts of the ACT. Another thing that you can do to help you is reading nonfiction books. There's a website that my school has bought stuff with, but you can buy it for yourself, which it costs a lot, so I don't usually buy anything for myself, but I can do it for free since I go to the school. But if you would like to buy it for yourself, I haven't completed anything in it, so I don't know how helpful it really is, but I do know that some of the things I recommend is reading nonfiction books. One of the nonfiction books they recommend is this book called Freakonomics. I got it through our school because they use it for ACT prep, which you take your junior year at my school. I haven't read it all the way. I'm like here. Nonfiction books will help you prepare for the ACT because most of the passages on the English and reading are nonfiction. Also, it just helps you get better at the English portion because they're usually written, not usually written with better English, but it typically written with better English. If you don't read a lot right now, just start off easy. Just take some books that you might like and read them like 10 minutes a day. Like, if you're reading nothing a day, then reading 10 minutes a day is better than nothing. But get to where you can read like 30 minutes a day, an hour a day. I don't read an hour a day, okay? I'm not saying read an hour a day, but if you don't read at all, that could definitely help you do better on the English and reading. Another thing is, I have a notebook that I just started recently. So what I'll do is I'll take practice tests, which I do them individually. I don't do all 4 tests when I do my practice tests. I do individual ones. So what I've been doing is focusing on math. And so in my notebook, I have some notes here. These are some questions I had missed that I wrote down to ask my math teacher about. Here I have 3 math ACT practice tests that I printed out. There are different places you can go. The ACT website has some practice tests that you can look at. I went to blog.prepscholar.com, I think that's what it is. Usually if you just search anything for the ACT, that'll pop up somewhere in the searches. So just go there. They have a list of free ACTs that you can go to. So I printed out a few of them. What I do is I take them, I set the timer. It's my editing self. I forgot to mention that I'm working on the math test mainly right now. At the time of filming this, I had a 24, but I'm pretty sure when I got my last test back, I had a 27 in math. So that's good. It went up after doing this, so, and I only did that for a week. Yeah, that's good, so y'all do that. So the math test is 60 minutes long with 60 questions. So each of these tests here have 60 questions, and I set a timer for 60 minutes, and I'll take it for that hour. If I'm not done with the practice test before that hour is over, I'll keep taking it, but I'll put like kind of a mark. where the hours stop, which hasn't happened a lot. Usually I'm pretty good on time. If you go over time a little bit, keep answering the questions just to see if you get them right or not, and know if you need to focus on concepts or the time of the test. Because sometimes you're super good at the test, it's just the time that you need to work on. So after you take your little practice test, what you're gonna do is have a little notebook. I just have one of these notebooks. On the inside, I have this little paper here that I put over it so that I could write things on it. And I wrote down things I need to do. So on each practice test, I mark questions that I'm unsure about and why I'm unsure about them. If it's a concept, if I just don't remember, stuff like that. After you take the test, you're gonna review the questions that you marked that you got wrong, and also questions that you marked even if you got them right. Because sometimes you'll make a good guess, but you don't understand the concept. Because what you need to do is make sure you understand the concept so that on the actual test, it'll be a different question on the actual test. You need to understand the concept is what I'm trying to say. To review the questions, I cut them out. As you can see, I have them cut out here. I have a few pages of that, where I cut out the questions that I missed. And then what I do is I write what my mistake was. A lot of the time my mistakes are careless mistakes, like I don't read the question all the way, stuff like that. So after you figure out what your mistake was, you're gonna ask yourself questions about it. So if it's about content, you need to ask yourself, what specific skill do I need to learn and how will I train this skill? If it's a specific skill that you need to learn, you can always ask your math teacher about it or go on khanacademy.com and search up the specific concept. They'll have practice things and videos and stuff like that, especially if you've forgotten something from the past, like, and you just need a review of it. That will definitely help. If the reason you missed a question was an incorrect approach, you need to ask yourself, how do I solve the question, and is there a general rule that I need to know for the future? So if you thought that for solving a triangle, like for the area of a triangle, it was like base squared times height, and that's wrong, then you need to figure out why you missed it. Then you'll know, oh, this is why I missed this question, and then you should practice some problems like that. Another thing is if you get a wrong guess, because sometimes you will need to guess, especially towards the end, because the math goes from easiest to hardest questions. If it's a wrong guess, ask yourself, why could I not eliminate one of the last answer choices? Knowing the correct answer now, how can I eliminate it? And does this suggest a strategy I can remember for the future? Towards the end of the test, you're going to definitely have questions that are harder because it's based on the math test. None of the other tests are easy more, just the math. It's from easy to hardest. There's going to be super hard questions at the end that you might not know about, especially as a freshman or a sophomore who hasn't held the classes for math. Which the ACT is supposed to only go to Algebra 2 and like the concepts it tests. So as long as you have Algebra 2, you should be pretty good. I'm in Algebra 2 right now, also just to clarify that. So you will have to guess on some questions most likely. You might not if you're super smart and know all your math good, but math is one of my worst subjects, so I definitely have to guess sometimes. But one of the best ways to guess is to read the question and see if there's some answer choices that you can remove. There's always going to be some answer choices that seem completely wrong and don't even answer the question right, and you can always eliminate those. Sometimes you're left with two, and that's where you do have to guess, and that's why you're going to ask yourself, why could I not eliminate one of the last answer choices, and does this suggest a strategy that I can remember for the future? The last way that you can sort of miss it that I have written down is by a careless error. If you miss it by a careless error, ask yourself, why did I misread the question, and what should I do in the future to avoid this? The reason I misread the questions is because I go super fast through tests. So what I do now to avoid that is I underline questions on the test to make sure that I read the whole question. Because by underlining it, you are teaching yourself to read the whole question, and you're making sure that you're reading it all. The reason you need this notebook is so that you can flip through and remember the mistakes that you've made, and it'll help you practice and work on them and make a better score next time, hopefully. If you read a lot, if you do the notebook, you can do it with any of the tests, not just math. I don't have a lot to say about English and reading because I haven't had to practice on it a lot, but you can always look up stuff about it. blog.prepscholar.com is a super great place to read on the tests and stuff like that. So that's all I really have to say for this. I might make more ACT videos later on to help y'all out if my score goes up and if I have some more tips for you. So subscribe to my channel. I don't usually post ACT videos if you're not interested in that, but I do post other videos, vlogs, stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, then you could always subscribe and comment down below any other kind of videos you want to see. If you want to see more ACT videos, that's fine. Like this video if you do. If you don't comment, just so that I know. And I'll see you guys whenever I have another video.